They've been damn hopeless at everything. So it seems to me they're resorting to becoming basically a version of the royal Kardashians.
The problem is that people are now speaking it aloud, not on some dubious podcast or on Reddit, but in actual conversations. Everyone is wondering how Meghan and Harry are able to earn so much money.
Yeah, what has he done with this Netflix series? He's used his mother to sell it. Could there be a more grotesque exploitation or a more hypocritical one?
Out of a Vogue photo shoot just does not fit the narrative they presented to us a few years ago. Do you recall that meeting with Oprah? They were disconnected as soon as Harry finished speaking. No more royal funds, no income from the Duchy of Cornwall, nada. Meghan went on to say that in order to get back on her feet, she had to get in touch.
They've been damn hopeless at everything. So it seems to me they're resorting to becoming basically a version of the royal Kardashians.
Sympathized. There was an underdog vibe to it all. Two individuals leaving the world's most powerful monarchy to begin over. Quite motivating, isn't it? This is where things start to get strange, though. They were more than just survivors. They prospered, and quickly, like suspiciously quick. In a matter of months, there were speaking engagements with six-figure prices, Netflix and Spotify exclusives, autobiographical contracts, and of course, book agreements and branded merchandise lines that came and went in silence. Overnight, their incomes seemed to soar. Now, do not misunderstand. It is not illegal to make money. In today's digital economy, anyone can make money from almost anything if they have charisma, name value, and a strong public relations team. But the warning signs? They no longer originate from envious tabloids or Twitter trolls. We are discussing real financial professionals, government auditors, and legal insiders who are beginning to question whether there is more going on here. There is genuine conversation, that the financial web of Sussex is being surreptitiously examined by US and UK entities. Furthermore, it has nothing to do with whether they are profitable or not. It concerns the movement of that money, the location of its declaration, and whether or not there are any suspicious activities taking place beneath the surface. Rumors of offshore accounts, sham corporations, and dubious tax returns. Yes, spending on luxury is no longer the only factor here. It has to do with legality, because let us face it, they lead a costly lifestyle, like dumb costly. According to reports, security alone costs them millions of dollars annually. Even though they have obviously struck some big deals, some are questioning if it all adds up. Sure, a Spotify podcast here and a Netflix series there could generate revenue. Does it, however, support the steady stream of expensive purchases? Maybe. Or perhaps we are unaware of everything that is happening. This is the second piece that many people are finding bothersome. They have established their brand about being victims of racism, tradition, the press, and the monarchy. That story seems to be leveraged in every new acquisition. Everything has been resolved, including Meghan's truth, Harry's trauma, and their royal fallout. They are selling suffering, not just projects, and that attracts criticism even though it might result in clicks, streams, and book sales. People will start to investigate who is truly suffering and who is profiting when your entire business is based on mistreatment. Their dominion appears well run at the moment, but there is noise behind the scenes. Lawyers are preparing for questioning, investigators are following bank trails, and insiders warn that this could become much more complicated than a negative headline. This is no longer a PR cleanup. It might become a drama in court, and Meghan and Harry are not the only ones. It has to do with perspective, power, and how far one can push their narrative before the statistics become illogical. Mistakes? Never before have they been higher. Take a peek at their recent public appearances. Every action seems planned. Perfectly timed magazine covers, meticulously edited interviews, podcast sound bites, and red carpets. Fame is now a machine, not just a thing. Additionally, it appears like every piece of content they provide is intended to generate just enough attention to keep them in the news. However, the strategy is beginning to feel less like a plan and more like a scramble, because there is a limit to how much content you can distribute while marketing your life narrative before viewers begin to question what is authentic and what is for sale. In particular, Meghan's brand has changed significantly, but not so much for someone who claimed to be sick of being in the spotlight. People are beginning to believe that the new empire is not based on moral principles. It is based on visibility. The more people who see it, the more money you make. And when you are aiming for relevance like that, you cannot afford to be forgotten for even a moment. Harry's book was a great hit, yes, but it was not only his version of events. It destroyed family ties, the palace, and the press. No one was spared. spared, and although his candor helped him sell more copies, it also exposed him to a different type of scrutiny. People expect transparency if you say you are expressing your truth, and financial investigators are now advocating for just that. Transparency in terms of both money and words. They are not asking trivial inquiries. They are not examining a couple of dubious receipts. They are looking into the entire system, including how contracts are written, who signs the documents, which nations provide the payments, and which taxes are being submitted. Rumor has it that a number of revenue sources are being scrutinized. The numbers are shifting quickly across borders and through several tiers of names, businesses, and trusts, not because someone is envious, not to mention the aesthetics. People take notice when you reveal that you have been financially abandoned and then appear to be living like a movie star. Additionally, it might be difficult to distinguish between off-camera product launches and on-camera emotional appeals. What is the actual cause? A brand strategy. What is it? In any case, are the finances clean? Curiosity about the group running their affairs is also rising. Are those in their immediate vicinity merely public relations specialists or adept financial managers who understand how to transfer funds in ways that are barely noticeable? Because it probably was not an accident if anything nefarious has gone down. It frequently involves more people than just the faces in front of the camera, and it requires organization and structure. Because of this is no longer just a tabloid fixation. It is turning into a legitimate case study on finance. In the era of online capitalism, the margins become extremely thin when aristocracy and celebrity mix. Furthermore, a public relations team will not be cleaning up if anything has been pushed too far. In court, there will be attorneys. Now the pressure is loud. Every action they do, every agreement they sign, and every brand they connect with is monitored, recorded, and examined. Former royals with media presences are no longer all that Meghan and Harry are. They have evolved into a business strategy, and that strategy is totally dependent on continuing to garner attention, keeping up the pace, and converting headlines into cash. However, rumor has it that some brand partners are subtly taking over behind the scenes, withdrawing, concerned about the danger to one's reputation. In the meantime, Harry's reputation has suffered in a different way. He has since changed from the weak, emotionally unfiltered version of himself that showed up in interviews to a man balancing lawsuits, book marketing, and increasingly uncomfortable press appearances, declarations as well as paper trails, timelines that did not square up, allegations that were contested, and the conspicuous silence of his own family all damaged his credibility. No public comment could ever fully convey the impact of that quiet. According to legal experts, the inquiries would not only remain in the financial lane if this proceeded further. Contracts based on reputation, deception, and even misappropriation of charitable funds may be encountered, particularly if any nonprofit monies have been diverted to private endeavors. Financial agencies do not stop at the surface once they begin removing layers, albeit none of this has been verified yet. The question of whether Meghan and Harry committed a crime is no longer relevant. It has to do with how purpose is perceived. A completely different picture, one of manipulation and exploitation rather than revolt or independence, is painted if they were aware that specific financial choices would result in tax advantages, circumvent reporting requirements, or sway public opinion through charity branding. And that is a risky narrative to spread in the current environment. Supporters are divided. Are they attempting to emerge as the next non-monarchical great power couple? Is their goal to remain relevant at any cost? Or are they creating a legacy? Or worse, are they just attempting to avoid a financial catastrophe that they cannot afford to take their time cleaning up? Lawyers are reportedly planning for every scenario behind closed doors. Taxable result, subpoenas, public filings, tax audits, and if the situation becomes serious, depositions. Just facts, timetables, and banks. No more narrative shaping or PR control. What about the paper trail issue? They are truthful. They either support your story or deny it. Now, Meghan and Harry face more than simply humiliation as a danger. It is complete and utter legal exposure. Because when the money says differently and your brand is based on transparency, it is not simply a contradiction, it is a catastrophe. Furthermore, no Netflix agreement can erase that this time.